South Carolina Gamecocks begin their season 1-0 after a relatively closer game than expected to be. 35-14 was the final score. The spread was covered. Georgia State is a decent team, but the Gamecocks, there's a lot of very bad things to talk about in today's video, but there's also some good things about this first game of the season that I am very excited to talk about going forward for the Gamecock season. But first off, if you enjoy this type of content, I know this is different from what I've been doing in the last few months. Hit the like button and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. You'll be seeing one recap and one preview of every Gamecocks game every week of the college football season, and I might do it in basketball too, but I'm not as big of a person or as knowledgeable in college basketball as I am for college football or the NBA or NFL, so I may avoid that topic as much as possible. But today, obviously, Georgia State Panthers are a strong team. We've seen what they can do in the past. They beat Tennessee that one year. They really took Auburn down to the wire last year. I believe the final score was 34-24, and I think Auburn ended up winning off of a few fluke plays all going in their favor, so it was kind of a disappointing loss if you're a Georgia State Panther fan. But you come into this year and they had a very good opportunity to take this Gamecock team down. They have a very tough offense, or very good offense, especially one that not a lot of teams are used to going against. This team runs the ball, and they run it heavily. I mean, Darren Granger, the quarterback for Georgia State, finished the day with 7 for 29 passes, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, was a wide open touchdown. And it was 1 interception late in the game as well. When they were down by 3 scores, they were trying to run or get the ball down the field as quick as possible. But at the end of the day, 7 of 29 is not a good stat line when it comes to throwing. But if you look at their rushing attempts, 13 carries for 76 yards for Jamyest Williams, a former Gamecock at that. They had a great rushing game with him. Last year, Marcus Carroll, the backup running back, 5 for 57. Darren Granger, 11 for 43, and he had the 1 rushing touchdown there. And Tucker Gregg, 11 for 24. So if we add those up, that's 22, 27, and then about 30 or 40 carries across all of those teams. They ran the ball 40 times. They got, let's see how many rushing yards total they had. They finished the day with 200 rushing yards. They had a few big broke open, run down the field, the giant holes in the defense. But for the most part, a team that last year averaged, the 8th most rushing yards across the entire season out of anybody, similar to Army, Navy, Air Force, all of those very run-heavy triple option offenses. It's not shocking to see Georgia State run the ball that well against this Gamecock defense. That's a different offense than we'll face across the entire season, outside of maybe against like South Carolina State or something, where they likely run a very run-heavy offense because the quarterbacks aren't as high quality as they are when it comes to passing in the Division I or higher end schools would have, a starting quarterback be. But at the end of the day, we limited their passing, and that's the main reason we won this game. The 111 passing yards, they did average 4.5 yards per play compared to our 4.4 yards per play, but they only finished with 14 first downs, 5 of 17 on third downs, 1 of 3 on fourth downs, and they had to punt 9 times throughout the day. So while the defense struggled on that first drive really heavily to stop that run, they really locked it up, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how well this South Carolina defense played. I know they were going to be the stronger unit. That D-line has so much talent, and they continue to bring more talent in each year, and I think this defense has a chance to win us some games going forward. But before we talk about that, we need to talk about the main reason we won this game. And I actually attended this game. The special teams was amazing for the Gamecocks. 2 blocked punts. They had one in the first or second quarter that was extremely close, but 2 blocked punts. You get both of them the return for touchdowns. What a great performance by the special teams. 2 very long field goals as well by Mitch Jeter in his first game as the starting kicker, and he made both of them. And then also early in that first quarter, in the second quarter, you've got a 4th down, and I believe maybe like a 4th and 5, 4th and 6, and you go for it on the field goal. What a gutsy call by Shane Beamer and the other coordinators, but at the end of the day, it paid off. Just barely got enough for the first down, but it still was enough. They came out, they measured it, and he got about a half a yard longer than he needed, so The Gamecocks moved on. The special teams performed at a peak level. The return man could have been a little bit better with Josh Vann. He didn't have as much room. The blocking on punts and kicks wasn't as good as you would hope it would be, but Josh Vann also caught a lot of fair catches, so the return game wasn't really there like we would have hoped it would be, but I understand, better safe than sorry. But at the end of the day, we might need to start returning some kicks and getting better field position, because now we get to, in my opinion, what is probably the ugliest part of this game, and it's the offense. Unfortunately, Spencer Rattler had an okay game. He came in, I was really excited to see him play, and it was okay. 23 for 37, 227 yards. He had one touchdown early. I believe that was in the second quarter to Marshawn Lloyd. Or no, that was Marshawn Lloyd ran on that one. It was a third quarter to Marshawn Lloyd. But one touchdown, 2 interceptions, 227 yards is decent. But obviously the main thing you want to talk about with him is the 2 interceptions. The first one, kind of a bad throw, kind of a bad timing by Amarion Brown. It bounced off his fingertips right into the hands of the defender behind him, but unfortunately still counts as an interception on the quarterback. I'm not going to hold that one against him too much. The second interception is where it gets really, really bad. 3rd and 2, I believe it was. They have the first down, a check down right in front of them for 4, 5, 6 yards to Juju McDowell. Rattler's rolling out. He continues to look downfield. Instead of throwing it down for the first down, forces it upfield to Antoine Wells Jr., and the defender just completely jumps the route, picks it off, and he returned it for a good bit of yards right there. And yeah, that really showed that Rattler has some room to grow in this offense. It's his first game. Jitters are going to be there. Everybody's going to be nervous. At the end of the day, we still won. I mean, a 3-touchdown game is a massive win no matter what team you're playing. That interception could have been completely avoided, and it very easily could have been 42-7 if we didn't throw that interception. But I do have a little bit of positive to say about that. While Rattler did throw that interception, Georgia State went right down the field, and they scored off of that interception. He did come back out on the field. They drove all the way down the field after, I believe, getting at the 25-yard line on a touchback, and they scored in returning that, kind of retaliating back and getting some momentum back on our side. So that was a really good response by the Gamecock offense. But at the end of the day, we're going to be playing Arkansas next week and Georgia the week after, and a lot of other SEC schools. Rattler's just got to be better. This team in general has to play better, and the main way this team has to be better is in the offensive line. So many times Rattler, he snaps the ball, and after half a second, he's under pressure. The D-line's right in his face. And I'm not going to say or sit here and act like Georgia State has a bad defense. They have a pretty solid defense. They've got a lot of experience on their roster, and they just played well. The offensive line just wasn't prepared for this type of game. We ended up only rushing for 79 yards the entire day, about 3.3 yards per carry. Jaheim Bell was honestly our best running back, 7 carries, 39 yards for about 6 yards per carry. Outside of that, Marshawn Lloyd had 11 rushes for 30 yards and about 2.7 average yards per carry, 1 touchdown for him, and that was early in the second quarter. Juju McDowell, 7 for 14. Hunter Rogers, 1 for 5. Dante Miller, 2 for 3. And Spencer Rattler, 4 for -12, because obviously in college they count the sacks against the quarterback. So at the end of the day, tough running day, or tough day to get anything going on the ground for the Gamecocks. And I don't think this problem will persist as nearly as bad as it did this week, but the offensive line has to improve a ton, because if our passing game is going to be good, we need a solid, at least, running game, because it's so difficult on Rattler or any quarterback to get a consistent passing game going when you're completely one-dimensional. The other team knows you're going to be able to, or you're not going to be able to run the ball. And that's really where it comes down to across these next few weeks if we want to have any chance against these ranked SEC teams, or even the worse for wear SEC teams as we go up against like Vanderbilt or the lower end teams, non-ranked teams like Kentucky, Tennessee, teams that we should theoretically have a close matchup against. It's going to be tough to do. It's going to be a lot of improvement needed by this offensive line, but I will say my player of the game has to go to Jalen Brooks. After sitting out most of last year with personal issues, 4 catches for 88 yards does not sound like a lot of volume, but he had some extremely, amazing catches. He had some very timely catches, catches where it's a long third down and he just leaps up in there and he makes an amazing grab or behind his back catch. And I was just very impressed with him, especially across the last few seasons where he's had issues with dropping wide open catches. I was very happy with how Jalen Brooks played. Josh Vann was a little disappointing. 1 catch for 9 yards. He had some crucial drops earlier in the game. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what he can do going forward. But I don't think it's as big of a worry as it looks like. I think maybe he just struggled a little bit in this game. And I don't think he's going to have like a bad season by any means. Maybe it was just, maybe it was just jitters, just something like that. I think it's going to be fine going forward, but I was a little disappointed with how Josh Vann played today. And yeah, that's how I'm feeling about this Georgia State game. It's a tough, hard-fought win. Special teams came through clutch. The O-line has to be better, and the defense, just keep doing what you're doing, and I think we have a chance to keep it close as long as our offense can be consistent. If you're a Gamecock fan, hit the like button and subscribe. If you're a college football fan in general, do the same thing. Comment down below how you're feeling about us going into Arkansas next week. I will have my preview of that game coming in the next few days. Thank you guys for watching this one. Please turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. See you guys next time. Peace.